back in, when was this? January 25th. I was on Chris Hayes' program, and we were talking about Don McGahn, but I guess it had been a couple of months since the Stormy Daniels story had come out, maybe a month, right?
I think like 2 or 3 weeks, maybe.
Oh, 2 or 3 weeks? Okay. Yeah. So the Stormy Daniels came out, and it came out like following Steve Bannon's ejection from the White House. And to me, I found the whole story sort of puzzling, because who really cares that Donald Trump had an affair with anybody at this point? Why would that resonate in any way? And I think subsequent to this appearance on Hayes, it occurred to me that maybe this was really about a prenup that Trump had with Melania, and that proof of it would cost him a lot of money. There must be some standard in this prenup. But in terms of hurting the Trump administration, this was my theory in January as to why we knew this information a year and a half after the event happened, and at a time where it was really largely irrelevant.
There's a lot of things that are coming out that are old news, right, over the past couple of weeks, since Steve Bannon has been basically cut adrift. The Stormy Daniels thing...
You seem to have a theory.
Well, look, there's a purient interest to the Stormy Daniels thing, but there were 11,000 LLCs that were established on the day that the one that paid off Stormy Daniels did. Somebody tipped those reporters off, and why they got this tip?
Oh, that's a good point. You can't just go sort through the paperwork.
That would have taken. You need to be
Yeah.
looking for something.
Great point. Great
And
point.
so someone told them about something that happened a month before the election, where there was already plenty of evidence of this relationship from an interview from years before.
Right.
So there's something that's still out there that is associated with that payment that it was in someone's interest to have the press report on.
And it turns out that that LLC that was formed in Delaware on that day was not just about paying off Stormy Daniels, but ended up being some type of like large conduit for a lot of money.
It's a business.
Here it is. Here is Cohen's LLC. Can you expand that again? All right. So you have Michael Cohen at the in October of 26th, October 26th of 2016, he has to loan himself money because this entity has no money. He has to get a home equity to pay Stormy Daniels. And within 2 months, right? October 26th to January of 2017, money starts flowing in. First from Columbus Nova, which apparently is the American agent, if you will, for a Russian oligarch's hedge fund investing.
Nice.
Then money starts pouring in and starts flowing out towards Keith Davidson, who is an attorney, right? Is that the City National Bank? This is all flowing through Essential Consultants, LLC.
Oh, it definitely seems essential.
Super essential.
Essential.
By November of 2017, Korea Aerospace Industries pays $150,000 for consulting.
We make deal.
They're on the verge of some type of like a $13 billion deal, I think, with the American government. Just
Hey, stuff happens.
Then Novartis.
Who names
between October of 2017, right? That's like a year after he had to borrow money to pay off the Stormy Daniels, and January of 2018. So over the course of 2 months, pays him $400,000. Incidentally, Novartis, I think, has also been charged with trying to bribe Greek officials. They're a Swiss drug manufacturer.
When in Rome.
AT&T.
Wait, I think it actually turns out that Novartis it ended up being $1.2 million.
Oh, really?
Because there was another payment The Swiss drug company Novartis revealed Wednesday that Special Counsel Robert Mueller contacted the company last year about payments it made to Michael Cohen, President Trump's longtime personal attorney. And they're basically saying, like, yeah, we paid him 1.2 million, and then, he just really, Maddie, he just really wasn't.
It's not connected.
No. He just he just didn't actually have the skill set that we thought he had.
Yeah, exactly. AT&T gave him a couple $100,000 to get, and this is what they said, to gain insights into the thinking of the administration.
Certainly a lot of thinking going on.
Oh, there's a lot of thinking.
Deep,
You have a what? A merger?
Deep thinking.
So this is...
Oh, which reminds me of the Time Warner scumbag who was just like, it's the Democrats trying to limit my campaign contributions. There's the real threat to democracy. Anyways, there's this Cohen guy out in some taxi cab office in Queens. Apparently, he'll just grease everything over for us. A lot more simple than standard Washington K Street corruption. I love this.
All right. Now, we don't have a clip of Michael Avenatti, who is the lawyer who released this information. Now, there's a lot of speculation as to where did he get this information that has sort of broke open these stories about Michael Cohen and this flow of money. And there's a lot of speculation about it. Some people believe that all of this information came specifically from a SARS report, with SARS being suspicious activity report that are filed by banks when there's suspicious activity.
You have to go so far out of your way to get a bank to voluntarily file.
Well, no, these actually happen fairly regularly. In fact, this is what got Elliot Spitzer. If you take $10,000 out in cash,
I see.
Or if you take $9,950.
Is this what got Hastert too?
I think that is also what got Hastert. The bank is required to file a report. If money comes into your
account. Is that
account,
Dodd-Frank or is that terrorism laws?
No, this is prior to that. It could be terrorism, but this is what Rush Limbaugh got busted on for his buying of OxyContin. He went around,
regulations really work.
9999. He kept taking out in terms of cash to pay his cleaning lady, apparently. But
at least he paid her.
There's also those are more sort of like retail banking things. There's other things that come from corporations when a certain amount of money goes through. I don't know if it's 100,000 or 200,000 or whatever it is. Those payments need to be reported. I think it was Novartis paid like $50 under, like $99,950 or something, and that also triggered it.
Nice.
Missed it by that much.
I love it. I love that. Like this.
So somehow he got a hold of the SARS things. But last night on O'Donnell, he was implying. Wasn't saying this straight out, but he was asking questions as if the type of questions you would ask if you felt like you already had the answer and that you were going to maybe be able to provide it in the future. And he was saying the real question is not the money flowing in to Cohen's LLC. The real question is, where was the money flowing out? Because he said, if you look at this LLC, the payments that come out of it, because usually on a single person LLC, when he is Cohen is the only, the only member of the partnership, it is a pass through. So you'll set it up if you're getting paid from a bunch of different sources. You will establish one of these LLCs, or if you have some other small business, you want to retain some type of arm's length in terms of liability for lawsuits or whatnot. You'll establish these things. And usually what happens is you pay yourself out of those. You pay your Social Security tax, you pay both ends, whatever. You give yourself a payroll. Maybe you give yourself a dividend at the end of the year or something like that. And that money does not add up to the amount of money that came in. So the question is, who's getting their cut? And Avenatti was just like, oh, it could be. But, Donald Trump's the type of guy who doesn't like people trading off his name without getting a taste. Right? And so,
I feel like in a day, Trump's going to be like, of course I got a cut because I'm not stupid. I know how to do business.
You're going to pay someone off and not get a cut?
Yeah,
why would you punish success?
Yeah, or Giuliani go, of course he got it back. Of course he got the money back. And it's perfectly legal.
Okay, here is Michael Avenatti on George Stephanopoulos' program this morning, basically saying to Cohen, "Hey, if there's no problem here, don't you think it's appropriate that you show us the bank records?"
Michael Cohen and the president can clear this up this morning very easily. Michael Cohen should release the bank statements from this account, this single account, from October of 16 until April of this year, so he can disclose to the American people what money was received or not received.
Let's take what's been confirmed, though. AT&T has confirmed the payments. Novartis has confirmed the impairments. Columbus Nova has confirmed the impairments, although they said it had nothing to do with Russia. What is illegal about that? Michael Cohen, attorney for the president, close to the president, sets up a firm in Washington, D.C., gives strategic consulting advice. What's wrong with that?
Well, wait a minute. We don't know what advice he was giving. Here's what we do know. Each company has given a different reason for retaining Michael Cohen. Real estate, business consulting,
Renaissance
healthcare
man.
consulting, the list goes on and on. Michael
Again,
Cohen.
but nothing wrong with any of that, correct?
Maybe there may in fact be something wrong with
What
it
would that be?
for the following reason. He's not a registered lobbyist. He hasn't made required disclosures relating to lobbying activities. Depending on the fact, or if he is,
AT&T said he wasn't lobbying. They didn't hire him to lobby.
well, what'd they hire him for then?
Vision.
It's unclear, right? Clearly, it's unclear. In fact, the more you dig, the more stories we hear from these companies. Here's the other problem. If he's taking money from a foreign
He's a
national,
good guy.
that could pose a significant legal problem for him as it relates to taking dollars from overseas companies, et cetera. So we don't know where this ends, but it doesn't smell right, George.
You said could right there. What we heard there from Vexelberg and from Columbus Nova is that he did not have anything to do with the hiring of Michael Cohen. This was not his money.
All right. Well,
Any evidence to the contrary?
Yeah, we have significant evidence to the contrary. Let me say this. We haven't released all the evidence that we have. I think any claim by Columbus that they have no ties to Renova, the Russian...
No ties to the hiring of Michael Cohen.
Well, no, but they also tried to claim last night that they had no ties to Renova, that they're a completely separate company, unaffiliated. We know that's not true. I think there's 45 SEC filings where the two companies are linked. George, look, something doesn't smell right. And if it's above board and there's no improper conduct, Michael Cohen should release the bank statements and the bank records for the American people to see. And if
There you go. Guess what Michael Cohen's not going to do, ladies and gentlemen?
Says who?
Yeah. Says who? Says who? A lot of times, companies will just randomly find a lower tier law school lawyer who represents gangsters in Queens and just say, "I just like your energy. Why don't you come and just do a vision session with us for $1 million?" Or right under the withdraw account for a SARS report. God, I hate SARS. Both kinds.
I gotta
the
say,
Asian kind and the bank kind. The worst.
both essential and necessary. That's what your company name should be.
Says who?
It wasn't Cohen. Was it Lewandowski that had the Sterling Cooper LLC? That was
Yes.
Yes. That was totally Lewandowski. He was just like, yeah, I'm doing like PR. Who does PR? Madman, dude. Trying to ask the president a question. I'll freaking dislocate your shoulder even if you work for Breitbart, freaking broad.
These Cohen payments are dubious at best.
Yeah, I think they're a little dubious. They couldn't even. What's amazing is just the way they are. Like, the system of American corruption has become so bureaucratized and elaborate, and they're just taking us back to like the duffel bag era.
I hope that we also have an equal amount of consternation about Novartis and AT&T paying him as a Russian oligarch. I mean, here's the thing.
I would say more. Probably.
This has been my contention from the beginning. We should be upset about Russian influence on our election, just as we should be upset about the influence of any mass entity on our election that clearly does not have the American public's interest in mind. And this is, man, I think every governmental decision that has impacted Novartis, that Korean aerospace company or whatever it was, the AT&T, these should all basically be investigated immediately. Immediately.
Let me ask you this. Would you as a company, in addition to all the other business we discussed today, have any interest in a very lucrative U-Haul based startup in the borough of Queens? We got, you know how fucking hard medallions are to get, my friend? And I see no reason why yous, as the Korean airspace company, should not be involved in all aspects
Start
of travel.
crashing planes.
Yeah, right.
Perhaps you've heard about diversification. Very important not to keep all your eggs in one basket.
No.
You got this phone business, you got this other, like the TV business. What about some type of transportation? Or
Now,
perhaps
correct me
real
if I'm
estate?
wrong. I was reading in the In-Flight magazine that you people have a real problem with people getting sad over there and jumping off of cliffs. Why could that not be applied to a certain, shall we say, insurance-based model with air travel?
The AT&T thing really did re-whet my appetite for Avenatti on TV because it, like, when people were talking about this a new Red Scare, it's like, well, it's not communists this time, it's oligarchs.
Yeah, it's all.
So
that's,
like,
what is
let's
that?
have one.
It's amazing. Yes, like Russia. Exactly, Russia. Russia is what Republicans want. They
It's
want
a
a
mafia-
predator capitalist mafia
Petro
state.
state.
It's an oil mafia capital state with a religious hierarchy that enforces far-right social norms. This is what Republicans want. It's crazy.
Well, that's also why it's not McCarthyism, because McCarthyism, it seems to me, was founded on the idea of like an ideology, like you were trying to stamp out an ideology.
There's people in the State Department that
What
are
ideology?
sympathetic to communism. There are people in the State Department doing meetings with Novartis for scam LLCs
What
to
is
pay
it?
off.
Yes, exactly. What is the ideology that you supposedly have if you are supportive of the Russian government?
Well, actually, maybe Putinism, written in a sort of, if we're really elastic with that term.
Is that really an ideology, or is it
No.
really just like
money?
It's just
Power.
Yeah, it's just gangsterism.
Yeah, that's it.
I mean, some people seem to be a little confused still.
A little bit.
I see people conflating the old USSR with modern day Russia all the time.
Yeah, but I mean, it's funny though. Like both alarmists and defenders, and they're both just wrong.
Yeah, it's weird. It's pretty weird, guys.
All right. Well, it's a very weird time, folks. We went late. We had a lot of news to catch up on. We still have a lot of stuff to talk about, actually.
Stuff.
Avenatti
keeps justifying his overexposure, though. I have to
more
say.
AT&T stuff, Avenatti.
Yeah, more AT&T stuff.
That dude.
He knows how to drip it though. Like he's good at this.
Oh my God.
He's really good at this.
I want that guy to represent me. I just need to figure out who to sue.
That's probably what Trump's thinking.
I'm going to sue everyone.
Sue everyone. Sue.
You're all going to be sued, folks.